Hi guys, it's Cal from Dirty Weasel. Welcome back to the mod organizer for Fallout New Vegas series. In this episode, we'll be finishing off our modding for weapons and guns in the game. This video will be covering WMX, Weapon Mods Expanded. It adds many new modifications for your weapons and allows you to modify those unique items that were previously unmodifiable in the vanilla game. We will show you how to install it and get the necessary patches to make it work for your game so far. I'll then cover two mods that involve showing weapon statistics, how to install them, and give you some information on which is right for you. Just a reminder, in our efforts to keep modding free, I encourage you to donate to your favorite mod creators. As part of Dirty Weasel Media's mission statement, donations will be made to the mod authors showcased here after release of this video. Alright, let's get started. Alright guys, so let's start talking about WMX, and that'll be Weapon Mods Expanded. And of course we're going to do a new format. We have Mod Organizer for Fallout New Vegas on the right, and the video guide for Fear and Loathing in New Vegas by Essarrbee. And you come over to the Essarrbee site, and you're going to come down and look at, keep coming down, where is it at? And it's the most dangerous game, do you feel lucky? You scroll down, and you will find the WMX, Weapon Mods Expanded, and it's by Antistar, and you can see the instructions right here. We're going to walk you through this really quickly, but I want you to be able to read this so you can follow along, and you're basically going to get Weapon Mods Expanded, WMX, and you're going to go to Project Nevada. Let's go over and take a look at those two things. And you have Weapon Mods Expanded right here by Antistar, and is mod number 39651. And what this does is adds even more weapon mods to your game for those hard to mod weapons, such as all the unique ones. In other words, like that gun is now moddable. Lucky is now moddable. Of course, you have the light shining in the darkness. Where is it at? It's in here. Trust me, it's in here. But, you know, we can go ahead and take a look at those things later. But if you want to take a look at some of the pictures that you have for this, and the light shining in the darkness right on top, and we'll take a look at that specifically. It will now add a heavy duty slide, a silencer, and extended mags for it. So, you know, those were not in the game before. You're not able to mod light shining in the darkness, but now you can. So let's talk about the files that you need for this, and they are primarily, you're going to get the main file, Weapon Mods Expanded version 1.1.3, and it was done back in March 2014. You're going to download that main file, and then you come down to the optional files. If you have Eve, you're going to need the compatibility for that, and you're going to download that with Manager. If you have the modern weapons, and basically it will add some more modern weapons to it, to the game, and these are all pretty good, I would suggest go ahead and get those, and you download that with Manager as well. Then you come over to the Weapon Retexture project, and you know Millennium's Weapon Retexture project will have a number of meshes. This will overwrite the meshes so they're compatible with WMX. If you're using WRP, and you know I am, you want to download that with Manager as well. You don't really need the Essarrbee grab bag. You can just go ahead and not worry about that too much. You can go ahead and read the details for that. And then you're also going to need WMX DLC. Download that with Manager. So you can see we have, like I said, WMX over here in Mod Organizer. You have WMX 1.1.3 over here. You have the DLC. You have modern weapons. You have the Weapon Retexture project. And you have Eve compatibility. Let's talk about Project Nevada. Now, Project Nevada will add a number of weapons that you'll need to make this work. So when you come over to Essarbee's site and you see Project Nevada patches, you see the instructions on this. And, you know, we installed Project Nevada Eve support when we did the Eve episode. But now we're doing WMX. We're going to need the WMX support for this. Okay, so we go over to Project Nevada patches. And you can see it has the WMX support right there. Let's go up to the files. And it is WMX support right down here at the bottom. FOMOD Ready Archive. you download that with Manager. Of course, I have it over here. So we're going to install those. And basically, it is as simple as I'm going to disable my bash patch. So we're going to do this properly. And Weapon Mods Expanded. Go ahead and double click to install. You hit Manual. Weapon Meshes and Textures. Let's double check our Essarrbee's guide. Just make sure we do this correctly. And it's install the Weapon Mods Expanded, blah, blah, blah. Install all the DLCs and all the other stuff. And then we're going to go through and click some stuff out of the optional ESPs. But we'll go and show that to you. So this looks good. Click OK. There it is at the bottom. So go ahead and activate that. I'm just going to move it up my bash patch. I'll rebuild that later. So you go ahead and do DLC next. And it's going to give you options. And what you're going to see is, since we all have the Ultimate Edition, all the DLC merged, if you have all of them together, you want to click that one. And then you come down to the POP. This is the pre-order packs merged. You're going to click that one together. All right. If you had portions of all these, you would install individual plugins for each of those, but we're not. Everyone has the Ultimate Edition. You should be able to go. All right. Same thing goes with WMX pre-order packs. You can go ahead and select that, and then you would have to go through and select the individual ESPs for those. But we're all using POP merged. Okay. So go ahead and click Next and install. And we are going to go ahead and click Merge. So there we go. Go ahead and then download the next one. That's WMX Modern Weapons. Weapon Mods Expanded, WMX. Go ahead and click Manual. Weapon Meshes and Textures. Looks good. Go ahead and click OK. And merge it in. And then you come down to Weapon Retexture Project, WMX. There it is. Weapon Mods Expanded, WMX, Manual. Looks good. Click OK. And merge it in. And then finally, Eve Compatibility. Same thing. It's a pattern here, isn't it? So you're presented with another foam mod, and this is the All DLC. This will install various ESPs for this. But we are, once again, since we have All DLC merged, we're going to select All DLC merged. Okay, same thing as we had with Eve, All DLC merged. Has to go back a while into Eve, but you get the idea. Go and click to install and merge it in. So we're going to ignore that update, and we're going to open this up. And you're going to have a whole bunch of ESPs. Weapon Mods Expanded, Arno Avalas, that's actually Millennia, in case you're wondering. That's Millennia. DLC merged, Eve, Modern Weapons, POP merged. Let's check the instructions. In the left pane of model, we're going to double click Weapon Mods Expanded. We've done that. Select optional ESP tabs. We've done that. Move WMX POP merge ESP to the optional ESP box. Okay, we're going to move that up. Done. And we can go ahead and close it. And we're done. So when we click on conflicts, you can see, go ahead and check this. We're just going to open up a little more. I notice my new screen doesn't like to open up the file tree. You're basically going to see a bunch of meshes. It's overriding a bunch of meshes of this stuff. Don't worry about it too much. It's just what it is. Okay, go ahead and click close. So you could go ahead and slide this all the way up underneath the last thing that it overwrites. So we're going to go ahead and just, we'll put it right about there. Or up here. Anyway, how about there? Something feels wrong about putting it there. That's just me. This way we know it's not being overwritten anything. We're not missing any of those meshes. So the last thing we need to do to make WMX is compatible, and that would be Project Nevada. Since we have Project Nevada, it's all right through here. Okay, you see the Eve support? We're going to double click and get the WMX support. Double click to install. And we're going to rename. See, it wanted to name it Project Nevada Eve support. We don't want that. We want WMX support. Go and click OK. You see it's now down here at the bottom. We're going to ignore that update as well. Activate it. And we are going to move it up underneath Eve support. You could essentially merge these two together into Project Nevada patches, but in case you wanted to get rid of Eve, you would have to go back and get rid of WMX and then do it all over again. I think this is probably a better way. If you open this up, it's one ESP. It's not that big of a deal. And you go ahead and click close. And that's all there is to it. Now, there is one special note about this on Weapon Mods Expanded. And we'll go back. This has to do with the requirement that you create a merge patch or a bash patch. That's why I did the last episode on merge and bash patches. Because Antistar basically states that this will not work if you do not have a merge or bash patch. So you're going to need to do that before starting the game. Refer back to episode 17 on merge and bash patches and choose the one you want. I've tested it with both and they both work very well. However, I prefer the availability and the versatility of doing a bash patch. That's just me. Let's go over to plugins. And we're going to minimize that down. And we're going to open this up a little bit more so I can see a little better. And you can see all the way down here, that's where all the new ones are. Now, when you come down, you're going to find WMX DLC merged. If you didn't know to actually activate that, go and activate that, and that. So there you go. There's all your WMX all installed, and it's right there. So when you go down, you're going to need to use loot to reorder these. It's fine, just let loot run its thing. It's going to also give us some information. So when we scroll down, we take a look at it. That's our current setup. Let's just go ahead and download a master update just to make sure, no update needed. And we are going to go ahead and sort plugins. But first we want to look at take a close look at all these. It looks like it has all the bash tags. Looks like if the bash tags are already in place, we should be good to go. So go ahead and sort plugins. And our new list looks a little different, doesn't it? I'm going to go ahead and click apply and see what changes it makes. It made some changes, and that's fine. It never really puts my lighting and weather mod in the right place. So I'm just going to slide it down. So there's that. Now I would go ahead and do your merge and bash patch right now. You've got them all in the right order. Everything's ready to go. I would just go ahead and make your merge or bash patch. But I'm going to hold off on doing that because there's another set of mods I want to talk to you about. I'm going to slide this over again and we'll take a look at them. And these are stat viewers. I'm a big fan of seeing the stats for each of the individual weapons. In other words, when you go into the game, I want to know all the numbers about it. So there's two mods that I want to go over with you so you can see them. And one is the Weapon Stat Viewer by Slippy Guy, mod number 54643. And you can see basically it will allow you to open up while you're in your Pip-Boy stats on the individual weapons. You see in this picture right here, it's going to give you, weapon skill, base damage, fire rate, minimum spread, all these things. Okay, and you can access that from within your Pip-Boy. And that's basically how it works. This is a very low weight mod. It doesn't give you as much information as the second mod we're going to talk about, but it gives you pretty good. So if you want to download this, I'm just going to slide this over again. Go back to our downloads. It's the Weapon Stat Viewer by Slippy Guy. Go to your files, and you see it's super lightweight. It's only 4 kilobytes. We'll go ahead and show you how to install that, and then we'll go from there. So let's go ahead and double click to install. Weapon Stat Viewer, click Manual. See, it's basically just one ESP. If you wanted to install that, there you go. Let's activate it and see what it does. Doesn't do much. Okay, so you could put this, when you open this up, just take a look, see what we're doing here. Just one ESP, any files, not much to talk about. So you could put this anywhere, but I'm going to make sure that it goes after Project Nevada. That's all I'm going to do. And it will work just fine. I'm going to deactivate it for right now. And we are going to go move on to the next mod that does a very similar thing, but probably has a lot more features. And that's Neotropics Weapon Display, Weapon Stats Display. Neotropic mod number 50225. And this is a much more advanced program. It has two versions, but basically it's going to have a simple and an advanced one. And you can get an idea of what type of stuff it will be showing off of the screenshot right here. Base damage shots. It doesn't have some of the other information, but it has a lot more. One of the interesting things about this is that it has a heads-up display. A heads-up display in-game that pops up when you pull out your gun. And this information, even though it shows a black rock right there, you can actually see it will pop up using a hotkey on your screen without your Pip-Boy being need to be open. It's a little different. I would go ahead and if you want to see it in action, you can go ahead and see this video right here. I wouldn't worry about that too much. We're just going to install it. But there's a couple problems. These files are not packaged correctly for Mod Organizer to use. So you could try and download this, but it's not going to work. It's going to give you errors. You could try and do the same thing with this. It's just not going to work. Mod Organizer hates it. And that's because of the way the file structure is. And I'm going to download both of these manually, and I'll show you that. And you'll need to do that depending on which version you want. This is the heads-up display version. You pull the weapon out, and it's going to show the stuff on the screen while the weapon's out. I like a clean screen. I don't like this. And then the weapon info display simple. You hit a hotkey, and it pops up that window. That's all it does. So I'm going to download both of these manually. And you can see them right here. And you have the Neotropics Weapon Display Foam Mod. And then the simple version, Neotropics Weapon Display Simple Foam Mod. You can't drag and drop these in. Normally you could, but you can't. So what you're going to need to do is open each one of these up, drag the foam mod out, and put it on your desktop. Open this one up, and you can just decide on which one you want. I would probably not use this one. This is the one that has the heads-up display on all the time when you have your weapon out. Not a good choice. Just me. It has an Mcm menu that allows you to kind of configure things, but it's a heads-up display. This is the simple version, right? Simple foam mod. And this is probably the one I would use if I felt like I wanted to use this. I'm going to go ahead and disable, it's already been disabled, weapon stat viewer. And what you're going to do is this foam mod will now work because you pulled it out of a 7-zip it couldn't understand. So drag it and drop it in. Just that simple. If you wanted to, let's pull this back up. If you wanted to 50225, you could query info 50225. Simple version. Now what you'll do is you could double click to install. It's going to run the external installer and you install it. That one's the simple one. We're also going to do the same with the more advanced one. We're just going to drag that foam mod in, do the same thing, query info 50225. There we go. It is the info display, this version. Okay, it's not the simple one. Since this one's not running, let's go ahead and do this one. Double click to install. Cancel. It's not going to let me do that. Hang on. I'll just remove that. And the foam mod, this is the more advanced one. Run external installer, and it's going to give you a foam mod that gives you options on how to install it. Basically, this is how the display is. You can go ahead and look at these. You know, if I were to do it, I'd probably do on the left side, probably like that. I like that, but you get the idea. Then you go and click to install, and there it is. It's going to have all of these compatibilities. It's going to be overriding stuff. I would go ahead and just put it above UIO if you wanted to do that. I'm not a big fan of the heads-up display, so I'm not going to use it. I'm just going to remove the mod. Right, but it gives you options. Those are your options for these things. The one thing I am going to use is I like the weapon stat viewer. It's this one. It's very simple. You can view it in your Pip-Boy. That's the basic difference. Instead of throwing it on your screen on a heads-up display, it's just going to do it in your Pip-Boy. And I'll show you that. All right, so weapon stat viewer, it's activated. Go to our plugins. Hit loot again. Sort plugins. Apply. What did it do? Didn't do anything with it. So basically, it didn't see any necessary changes. So you can just go ahead and let it go. I am going to move that back down to where it belongs. And then I'm going to go ahead and rebuild my bash patch. And then I'll be back to show you what we did. So here we are in game, guys. It's raining. So I've got to run inside. And we'll take a look at these weapons and basically go over what we've done so far. Let me get inside here. Hang on. So now we're inside Rancho Villa, and you can see it's dark and rainy outside. But anyways, we got some weapons to look at here, and we are going to go into our Pip-Boy and see light shining in the darkness right there. You can actually mod it now. See these? Before, light shining in the darkness did not have any mods available to it. I went ahead and got them all, so you can see what it looks like. One thing to note, if you are adding this after you have already acquired light shine in the darkness, it will not be able to be modified. You'll need the special version done by WMX, and that means having to console it in. Just so you know, just so what it is. But you can now attach all these mods just using the mod menu. Let's take a look at it. And we have it right here. See, it has a silencer. And it has some extended mags. You can see it sticking on the bottom now. Nice and quiet. There you go. So the same thing goes with like the 44 Magnum. 44 Magnum only had 2 mods available to it before. Hit X to mod it. And now you can see it still has the revolver scope available, but you can now have a long barrel on it, okay, and a heavy frame. Going to attach those, and we'll take a look at it. You can see it is different now. It's slightly less lighter color because the heavier frame, but it's basically the same gun, okay. Not a big deal, but there you go. Now there is an MCM menu with this. Mod configuration, the WMX. And you see you can put your notes in your Pip-Boy. Uninstall menu in Pip-Boy, I wouldn't worry about that too much. We're just going to unclick that and reset WMX merchant inventories. If you are installing this after you've played the game for a while, you'll need to reset the inventories. I'm going to go ahead and click reset, and exit out all the menus. There we go. And continue. Alright, so there we go. They're reset shortly, so we'll basically wait for the cell to reset, but you get the idea. Now, open up your Pip-Boy again. We'll show you the last feature that we installed today, and that is the weapon stats. You can go ahead and click E, and you can see all the weapon stats for that. That was the 44 Magnum revolver. It gives base damage, rounds per second, spread time, reload time, critical damage, blah, blah, blah. Okay, click OK. You can go down to the next one. Let's just choose the M14. And you have stats again. There you go. Pretty simple mod. You can see all the base damage and stuff like that. It's pretty good. Like even on the it'll give base damage. So you don't have to try and convert this 21.8 times 4. It's just 85. Right? Got it? There you go. Exit out of our Pip-Boy. There is a mod menu with this. Mod configuration, weapon stat viewer. And you can basically change some of the format, rounds per minute, rounds per second, and stat viewer hotkey. If you want to change it from the default E, you can change it to something else. I'm fine with E. It doesn't really do much while you're in your Pip-Boy, so there you go. Alright guys, that's it. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. My name's Cal. I'm from Dirty Weasel, and I'm signing off.